Morning, everybody. How are you? So, yesterday we spoke about what you were determining, what you really wanted, but now you have to decide what you actually want. So, the indispensable first step to getting things you want out of life is to decide what you actually want. When you think about it, in a game of football, if you've got no goals, you've nowhere to score. How do you play? And it's just like that in life as well. You need to determine what you actually want in order to hit for it and achieve it. So, once you've decided why you're here, you have to decide what you actually want. Morning, Anne. To do, to be, and to have. Morning, Anne-Marie. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to experience? And what possessions do you want to acquire? Some people it's material, some people it's not. It's just inner. In the journey from where you are now to where you want to be, you have to decide where you want to be. In other words, what success does it look like? What does success look like to you? One of the main reasons why people don't get what they want is they haven't decided what they actually want. And I know it sounds daft, but it's true. You don't actually define it. You haven't defined your desires, and it's not clear, and it's not compelling in detail. So early childhood programming often gets in the way of what we actually want. Let me explain a bit more. So inside every one of us is this tiny, tiny seed that you were meant to become. Unfortunately, you may have buried this seed in response to your parents, your teachers, your coaches, and other adult male role models throughout your life and growing up. When you started out as a baby, remember, you knew exactly what you wanted. You knew when you were hungry. You spat foods out you didn't like, and you devoured foods that you loved. One. You had no trouble in expressing your needs until you got what you wanted. You were fed, changed, and held exactly when you wanted to be. As you got older, you crawled around and moved toward whatever you held the most interest for you. You were clear about what you wanted, and you headed straight towards that with no fear at all. So what happened? Well, somewhere along the way, someone said, don't touch. Stay away from there. Keep your hands to yourself. Eat everything on your plate, whether you like it or not. You don't really feel that way. You don't really want that. You shouldn't be ashamed of you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Stop crying. Don't be such a baby. Does this all sound familiar? And as you got older, you heard, you can't have everything you want simply because you want it. Money doesn't grow on trees. I remember my father telling me that when I was really young. And I thought to myself logically, well, money is paper, and paper is made from trees. And I gave him that response. I got a clip around the ear that day. But I was right. So you can't be anybody but yourself. And remember, other people used to say to you, stop being selfish. And you still get that now. Stop doing what you're doing and come and do what I want you to do. We've all heard it. And this is what holds you back, the programming you've been given throughout your life. You have to break this. So don't live someone else's dreams. This is the point. After many years of these kinds of sanctions, most of us eventually lose touch with the needs of our bodies and our desires and our hearts, and somehow got stuck trying to figure out what other people wanted us to be. We learned how to act and how to get their approval. As a result, we now do a lot of things we don't want to do to please these other people. We go to medical school or university because our father and our mother wanted us to do this. We get married to please our mother or our father. We get a real job instead of pursuing our actual dreams. Remember how a lot of the actors used to get told when they were younger, why do you not get a real job? Look at where some of them are now. But some of them are really following their passion and they're pursuing their dream. We go straight into graduate school instead of taking a year off and backpacking throughout Europe. I mean, that's another classic example about what we used to do. You weren't allowed to do that, or nobody wanted you to do that and told you to get a real job, didn't you? So in the name of being sensible, we end up becoming numb to our own desires. It's no wonder that when we ask many teenagers what they want to do or be, they honestly answer, I don't know. There are too many layers of shoulds and ought tos and you'ds better piled on top of us, suffocating us every single day. So we don't really know what we want in life. But this is the time to decide what you really want. So how do you reclaim yourself and your true desires? And how do you get back to what you really want with no fear or inhibition? How do you reconnect with your real passion? You start at the smallest level by honouring your preferences in every situation. No matter how large or small, don't think of them as petty. They might be inconsequential to you just now and to someone else, but they're not to you. So stop settling for less than you actually want. If you're going to re-own your power and get what you really want out of life, you have to stop saying, I don't know, I don't care, it doesn't matter to me, or the current favourite for teenagers and young people, whatever. When you're confronted with a choice, no matter how small or insignificant, act as if you have a preference. Ask yourself, if I did know, what would that actually be? If I did care, what would I actually prefer? If it didn't matter, what would I rather do? Not being clear about what you want and making other people's needs and desires more important than your own is simply just a habit that we've acquired over the years. So you can break that habit by participating in an opposite habit. And I'll see you tomorrow.